Hey, Jeffrey, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Good. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for joining me. Congrats on Lake George. I thought it was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I spoke to Carrie and Shea, I guess it was last week. And yeah, it's such an enjoyable movie. We were talking about how, I got some sort of Coen Brothers Fargo vibes from it. And both of them, of course, were in the same season of Fargo, coincidentally. And I know you directed a couple wonderful episodes of the show yourself. So I was curious, if the story of Lake George, that the experience on Fargo at all sort of shaped your vision for this new movie of yours at all.
Not really. Listen, I think the Coen brothers are the greatest top three living filmmakers, and I bow to their perfection. And I think Inside Man is, Serious Man is one of my favorite movies in
Me
ever.
too.
Um, but I started off as an independent filmmaker, and my first movie was a movie called Blood and Concrete, and it's a really kind of wild, maybe sophomoric movie. But I have been enamored with the genre really since I've been a teenager. It just spoke to me. Um, I just love those movies. So when I got called to do Fargo, I was like, oh, okay. I kind of know this filmmaking, but it's funny because it's a genre that you can't do in television, you know, except until Fargo came. Like nobody wanted to do hard-boiled stuff. And so it's just endearing to me of telling stories about characters on the fringe of society and trying to explore who they are and not be judgmental. And so I think and so much of the movies that I love came out of kind of the B movie existence in Hollywood, where if you look at a movie like Kiss Me Deadly, Robert Aldrich movie, it's so, because it was a low budget movie, it just was so kind of you get to do things that you can't do. I mean, because I guess they said, well, here's the money, make whatever movie you want, like not all the eyes were on it. So I think they're as interesting movies as there are.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Well said. I agree. And yeah, with Lake George, I mean, I love, I'm already a huge fan of Carrie and Shays and love everything they've been in, and they're so great in your movie. And love to hear from you. They have a great dynamic in Lake George. And what do you sort of see in their, sort of on-screen chemistry in your movie that makes them so unique and maybe distinctive from other sort of quirky, odd couples we've seen on the big screen before. I couldn't help but think of like Bonnie and Clyde, or I don't know, but
Oh, the movie that people should watch is called The Late Show, and it's a Robert Benton movie with Art Carney and Lily Tomlin. I think what makes a difference is that we never thought of it as an odd couple. We thought of it as two kindred spirits, right? Who, if you maybe sunk up their hearts together, it would be the perfect heartbeat. It was like it would be really meshed. And, I shied away from really any overt sexuality in the movie. So I think that separates it. And a lot of times in the movies, they, you know, they force the sexuality upon it. So it becomes that, right? I
yeah,
wanted this movie to be about friendship and about, um, in a weird way, not soulmates, but people who could help each other. And so it's a yin and a yang, right?
right.
And but they both are searching for the same thing. They both are looking for some sort of maybe redemption and or peace of mind. And they go about it in different ways. And they may not even know it. Like Carrie's characters may not even know what she wants or needs. Shay's character does. So I think it's just tonally, it's like truthfulness and the fact that I had these two actors who are consummate actors, like they never veer from the truth. that
Yeah,
helped.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good way of putting it. And yeah, I love what you did, and I love what it all builds to with the ending. And yeah, no spoilers, but yeah, it's a wonderful end result.
It's
And I
just
was curious, the movie's called Lake George. Love how we, finally, we see the lake. I was curious if the lake itself, for you, because you wrote the movie in addition to directing it, did that sort of spark the whole script? Did it start with the lake, or did the lake come later, kind of thing?
no, it was always like it was always it's funny. I didn't know if Lake George would be a good enough uh name uh and but Lake George is really important part in my life. It's a lake up in Mammoth Lakes, California. It's high, high up. I spent the, with my dad and I would go fishing there. I took my kids. We'd go there. It was really, and I just thought of like, that's that idea of the asphalt jungle. All he wants to do is get to Kentucky, right?
Right.
Because it represents, and this lake represented something to Don. He took his family there. So it was like his last, like if your life is a fucking mess and it's been a mess and you're looking to find some peace, where are you gonna go?
Yeah.
Well, you're not gonna go back to the city that created it. And he has nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
So he decides just to go to this place that offers some respite and peace and quiet.
Yeah. It is inspiring. I live in LA. I'm basically right in the city. And so I'm glad I saw this movie to kind of get my act together and get a change of scenery sometime soon. So,
Well, it's not that far.
yeah, exactly. Um, and I also wanted to ask, you've directed episodes from so many wonderful TV shows from other over the years. We've talked about Fargo, of course. Is there a particular show that still kind of sticks with you, one experience that maybe, I don't know, made a particularly lasting impression on you, one TV show in particular?
Well, I was executive producer on Friday Night Lights.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's probably the show that has had the most effect on me from career wise. And um, yeah, it was a really incredible situation. It kind of ruined a lot of us who worked on it because we were this small little show that never gave the network any trouble. And we made it for so cheap. But we broke every rule in television that there was to be broken. So it was almost making like indie movies every single week.
Yeah.
So I don't think you could get any better as an experience than working on that television show. Uh,
Are, yeah. Have you
yeah,
heard about the reboot? I think they're gonna try to make the show again. Would you be interested in
no
uh
comment.
what's that?
I have no comment about that.
Okay, okay.
I think yeah, like, I don't know. It's like that's the business.
Yeah.
It's like, like, do we really need another Friday Night Lights? Why don't we, people can go watch it. It just feels, I don't know. I don't have really a comment on it.
No, it's all good. I was just curious. Peter Berg and I went to the same high school. I've met him many times.
Congratulations.
But that was a great show.
Oh, you
So
went to Taft?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And then is there is there a TV show you're currently watching that you haven't been involved in that you're watching and you're like, oh, I would love to direct an episode or two of that, something.
Well, it's no longer on TV, but I've been watching Detroiters with Robinson. Uh, great, great, absurdist television. I love it. I can't get enough of it.
I kid you not, I was watching that show yesterday, so that's hilarious that you said that.
So freaking funny. And if I could be in the throes of the most agony, pain, and if I just think of Tim Robinson's face, I will. be happy.
Well, they'll probably make more of I Think You Should Leave. Would you ever direct one of those episodes?
Of course I would. It's like it's funny because I've never done comedy, but I've always wanted to do comedy. And Lake George is a funny movie,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and I wrote it, and so yeah, I would love to do anything that Tim Robinson is in, just to see him make those stupid faces.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I hope it works out. I was actually in the background of one of his episodes with the Jason Schwartzman one. So
Oh, okay, yeah, I love Jason Schwartzman. I hope to work with him one day.
yeah, yeah, he's great. Oh, great. And when you were making, just real quick, if while you're making Lake George, was there a particular filmmaker or a certain movie? Like you mentioned that movie with Lily Tomlin, but I don't know, when you were shooting those violent scenes or maybe the more comedic ones, was there a certain filmmaker that you were like found yourself maybe channeling or
Not
certain
really.
setups?
I, you know, not really. I mean, listen, everybody compares it to the Coen brothers. I'd be, like, so maybe, there's that.
Yeah.
But actually, it's funny. There's a German filmmaker, Christian Petzold, who really influenced the movie because he tells these stories that are so simple, that are so like him and Aki Kaurismäki. Those filmmakers are just so minimal, and I love the humor in Kaurismäki's movies. They're so absurd. So maybe that was, but no, they just made me laugh. So if it
Yeah.
makes me laugh, I hope, maybe it'll make one other person laugh.
Yeah. I think it will. I'm excited for everyone else to see it. So great. Well, thank you for taking the time to chat with me, Jeffrey. It was very nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, and go up to Mammoth. Enjoy the great outdoors.
I will. I will.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.